Hello everyone. What is it? It's Tuesday, February 13th, 2024, and this is the weekly video. We got a fun question that I hope everybody will enjoy, because who doesn't enjoy talking about tasty food and treats and cheat meals and just gluttony in general, right? Fantastic topic. So this is a question that was posted just a day or two ago by a Linchpin member in the private Facebook group. And so I'll read his question, and then we'll just dive into some random thoughts about tasty treats. So, this is from Eric F. Cheat day conversation. I'd love for Pat to possibly answer this, or just respond here. Figured I'd answer it in a video. I do remember him talking about how he went away from a cheat day to a cheat meal for his own reasons. True, and we'll get into that. So I use my Saturday as a cheat day. It's been perfect and I love it. My diet has been essentially eat clean for 6 days and then just eat an ungodly amount of delicious food on Saturday. I'm slowly adjusting my cheat day as time goes on, but it's worked well for me and I'm hesitant to change it. However, I wonder about the physical aspects of it. Is it good for my body to eat so clean for 6 days and then just shove 3 donuts, a chocolate chip cookie, and an insanely delicious flavored latte from my favorite coffee shop on Saturday morning? I view my Saturday mornings as a reward for being so disciplined throughout the week. FYI, I'm not so disciplined that I'll let a holiday or special event stop me from, being clean. I'm genuinely curious from a health perspective if it's good for my body to just shove that much sugar into my body at once every week. Okay, great question. So there's a couple things there. First of all, on just the general topic of nutrition, if it's something that interests you, you'd like to learn more and really geek out on and go down 100 different rabbit holes, I highly encourage you to follow E.C. Sinkowski. She runs Optimize Me Nutrition. She's on the web. She's on Instagram, wherever. And Adrian and I have had her on the Very Not Random podcast at least twice talking about nutrition. And she's just no nonsense, actually reads the literature and tells you what works. So I would check that out. Now, there's a couple things here. I'll dive into why I went from a cheat day to a cheat meal. And the quick answer to your questions, you mentioned what you do in the morning, but I'm assuming, since you said that you have a cheat day, that it doesn't stop after that amazing breakfast that you just mentioned, that the gluttony continues at lunch, there's probably some snacks in there, and then it's, a full pizza for dinner or whatever it happens to be, and it's a non-stop full day deal. That's what I'm assuming, since you said cheat day, not just a cheat breakfast. So you're asking, is it good from a health perspective to shove that much sugar into your body at once every week? Look, this is not scientific, although I've read more books on nutrition than I can even remember. I've had conversations for decades on this topic. I consume information about this all the time. My gut feeling has to say that no, there's absolutely no humanly way that it's actually good or healthy for you in the long run. That's the short answer. I mean, the dump of insulin, amongst other things, that must take place for such an over-the-top quantity to be consumed not once, not twice, not thrice, but all day long on a cheat day, I've got a feeling that the repercussions are felt far after that cheat day finishes. And so it probably takes your system more time than you think to actually get back to homeostasis and normal. So I think the short answer is no, it's probably not good. Huge disruptions to your system are rarely good. Small disruptions that they can handle with an appropriate response would be far more sustainable and reasonable from that regard. But but you said it's working for you right now. Cool. I'm not quite sure how old you are. That might have something to do with it as well, and as to whether or not this strategy morphs as the years go on. You asked about my personal 2 cents, so I'll kind of give you my evolution of cheat meals, days, or whatever. And so here it is. Okay, there's a couple things I'll say at the beginning of this, which is, people are interesting. I see JJ says, I like more than a few beers on Saturday. I guess that's not a healthy choice either. Right, but it's all about finding some balance, right? I mean, that's it. I mean, it's a rare person that will live on nothing but chicken and broccoli and water for the rest of their life. That's probably going to cause you to have these crash and burns, highs and lows. Compliance probably isn't going to be good there, right? That's kind of not sustainable. And the other extreme of just a life of gluttony is not good for obvious reasons either. So for each person, finding their individual balance where the overwhelming majority of the time they can stick to something generally healthy and sustainable while allowing themselves an appropriate little pressure release of sweet treats at an interval that assists with your compliance, that's what we're all striving to find. And so as unsatisfying as it may be, there's likely not any one particular recipe for everybody, and I'll explain why. But a couple things just to say, and it's a sad state of affairs that I even need to say this, right? Obviously this is not nutritional advice, blah, 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 whatever the disclaimer crap has to get said. I've even had people get upset, right? People on social media get upset with the word cheat meal because they think that cheat meal has like a negative connotation for it, and then it puts some negative food stuff in your head and causes anxiety. I don't know. And they prefer like a treat meal or something like that, some positive spin. Beats me. Just because any one particular person has an issue with a term, you shouldn't assume that another person does. Some other person might be totally fine calling it a cheat meal, and they have zero anxiety in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't put any negative food stuff in their head, and that's how it is with me. So if you need to choose some terminology that like works for you, cool, have at it. Go ahead and do that. I'm going to use the term cheat meal and cheat days and whatnot. Let's see here. When I was overwhelmingly just lecturing all the time, doing the level 1 seminars and all that, like immersed in the classic material that CrossFit would put out, CrossFit was very big on that it wasn't calories in, calories out. Okay, that wasn't it. And that it was more so the macronutrient profile. So here's what I mean by that. That let's say that the calories in, calories out means, okay, let's say if you burn 2,500 calories a day, if you only consume 2,300 calories a day, well, you're in a caloric deficit, you will lose weight. An oversimplification of what was generally taught in CrossFit was calories in, calories out. That wasn't what it was all about. It was the macronutrient breakdown between protein, carbs, and fat, and that a 2,500 calorie consumption each day would be wildly different if it was 40% coming from carbohydrates, 30% protein, 30% fat versus 70% carbohydrate, 20% fat, 10% protein. Even if the calories were the same, that it was the macronutrient breakdown that would really drove the needle. Now, as the years have gone by and as I've continued just learning and talking to folks and all that, I lean more towards the calories in, calories out, quite frankly. But that's not at the exclusion of the other, right? Luckily, we live in a world that it doesn't have to be that polarizing. The quantity of the food that you consume, the caloric density of the food, the overall caloric intake, that matters. You should also cast a very analytical eye to the quality of the food that you consume. In an ideal world, you would be eating the appropriate quantity of food for your exertion level, whatever it happens to be, and those foods would be high quality. So, we can live in a world where both exist. Okay, but yeah, I'm leaning more towards calories in, calories out. Now, getting back to it, I have done in the past, full cheat day. One day, sun up to sundown, burn it down. I was a younger man then. I'll go ahead and say that. I also, even younger man or not, don't think that was the best call, but I certainly did that for a while. And even in my younger years, I've never been blessed with great genetics, okay? I mean, my family's mostly Italian, and Italians are, generally not known for being lean, ripped people. We can put on weight really easy. And so, I don't have a fast metabolism. I don't have those kind of genetics. And so that wasn't probably the best call for me. And I would eat whatever I wanted to all day long, way more than I needed to. And what I feel was the problem, as delicious as it was delicious. I love food. It was delicious. But the problem was, and this is kind of what Eric's dealing with right now, and I don't know, Eric, if you're feeling the after effects of this like I did, but it was so much over the course of the day that I didn't feel like I was back to normal the next day when I woke up, or even the day after that. I swear, I feel like it took 2 to 3 days to kind of feel normal again. And so let's say I had that full cheat day on a Sunday. It was sometime on Wednesday where I was like, yeah, I kind of feel like myself again. That's like half the week. So again, what's going on at the cellular level of my body that I did from such an over-the-top cheat day? I'm not sure, but the effects were undeniable. I just felt kind of like I was in a fog for a few days. So that led my little squirrel brain to be like, well, that doesn't sound like a good idea. I also then, after that, experimented with a cheat window. So instead of giving myself, just a cheat meal, that's not enough, but a cheat day is too much. Okay, cool. I'm going to have a cheat window. And this would be, let's just say again on Sundays, a 2-hour window. And in that 2-hour window, anything goes. As much of whatever you want as you can consume. The clock starts, CrossFitters, everything's for time, right? 2 hours, and that was that. Well, that's, better, all things considered, probably than the full cheat day. The problem with that was, well, now I feel like I only got this 2-hour window once a week. Like, I'm going to just stuff as much into my face as I can. Doesn't matter if I feel full. Doesn't matter if I should have stopped eating a while ago. I've only got this 2-hour window, so pack it in. Comfort has nothing to do with it. Let's go. And I felt equally bad from that because something like that, for me anyway, again, you might be a different, more intelligent, more sophisticated, rational person than I was. I'm just here to tell you, for me, the cheat day didn't work well. For me, and what I have going on with food or whatever, the 2-hour window didn't work well because I would just overdo it, and then I just feel the same way for days afterwards. Because I would eat whatever, a pint of ice cream, a slice of cake, there'd be a box of cookies. I'm not going to lie to anybody, we're all friends here, right? This is a judgment-free zone, as Will Ferrell said. We're in the trust tree, right? We're in the nest. And I just way overdo it every time, and I just feel like death, and there was nothing good about that. And then, whether it was the cheat day for me, or that 2-hour window, well then, you eat so much darn crappy food so quickly that your body, metabolism goes wacky, you get too hot, you don't sleep well that night, so now on top of doing whatever you did to the internals of your body, you get a terrible night's sleep, you wake up the next day feeling like you're hungover, but all you did was eat sugar. Nothing good about that at all. So, continue down the evolution. These days, what works well for me is a cheat meal. I give myself a cheat meal. I give myself a cheat meal once a week, and for me, that's perfect. I love food. I love sugar. I love tasty treats. I could have it every day and be so happy. But I know what that does to my body composition. I know what that does to how I feel. I know what that does to my long-term health. And so I have to limit myself, have to limit my desires with some sort of discipline. So for me, it's a cheat meal. It's once a week. And I have found for me personally, because I can just ravenously devour food, it's just how I'm wired, that I have my cheat meal once a week has to be some sort of a self-contained serving. So what I mean by that is, and if I don't do a self-contained serving, things are going to get out of hand, okay? National Guard's going to get called in. I can purchase a pint of ice cream. I eat the pint of ice cream. When the last spoonful is done, my cheat meal is over, I throw it in the trash, and I'm done until the next week. That's what works for me. Now, because I know myself and I know that I don't have the discipline to be like, you know what? They were all out of pints of whatever, cookies and cream ice cream. So I got a half gallon, and that's okay because I'm a disciplined person, and I'll just eat the appropriate amount out of that half gallon. Maybe you will. I won't. I will eat way too much if it's not a self-contained, appropriate size serving, and then I'm going to be just feeling like death again. So I can't do that. I have to buy a pint of ice cream. I can't buy a carrot cake and say, Pat's got the discipline to cut himself one generous portion and then not go back to the tray to slice another one. I will go back to the tray again and again. So I need to buy a single serving slice of carrot cake and eat that. And when it's done, it's done. And again, this is just me being really honest about what I have going on and what works for me. In all honesty, the ice cream thing used to be in the past. Sadly, as the years have ticked by, dairy doesn't treat me well. So baked goods are usually my friends for cheat meals these days. And I these days, when I do my cheat meal, let's say it's on a Saturday or Sunday, I personally try to do it not late at night, because even baked goods or whatever, if I have some lump sum of, whatever, it's going to mess up my sleep a bit. So I'll try to do it midday or earlier in the day, and then still by the time I go to bed that night, I feel good. It doesn't mess me up. That's just what works for me. Now for other folks, you might find that, okay, maybe you need that regulation of the single serving, right? Can't buy the half gallon of ice cream, can't buy the whole apple pie, that's not going to go well. So you buy a pint of ice cream, but they don't like waiting all the way till Sunday to have this one cheat meal. They get these cravings over the course of the week, but since it's a self-contained serving size, they're just going to keep that pint of ice cream in the freezer, and they'll allow themselves to go in there with a spoon, have 2 or 3 spoonfuls on Saturday, a third of the pint on Wednesday, a little bit more on Friday, you finish it off on Saturday. Well, over the course of the week, you still just had that 1 pint of ice cream. I had it in a serving, you had it over the course of the week, but both of us had 1 pint of ice cream over the course of a 7-day period. That works really well for people. For me, that doesn't work well, because that little sugar monster, that little demon that lives in my body, if I awaken that little sleeping sugar gremlin with like a spoonful of ice cream, it's game on. It's not going to be like, yep, that's cool. That was a really good, really delicious 2 spoonfuls of ice cream. Let's just set that back in the freezer and act like we don't know it's there till tomorrow. That ain't going to happen. It's going to be devoured. So I personally don't work well with the pick at it over the course of the week. My wife works really well with that. She likes these little things laid out over the course of the week that over the 7-day period still come out to what she would have had in 1 serving. I do it all at once. So again, it's not right or wrong. It's what actually works best for you if you actually know yourself and you're honest with yourself or whatnot. And when you find that thing, what it comes down to is which of all the different things that we've talked about right now keeps you on track, makes you happy for your body composition, as well as your physical performance in the gym or in athletic endeavors, and your mental function, clarity, acuity, and all that good stuff as well, and what fits your life also, your schedule, your work schedule, if you travel, whether you have kids or don't have kids, all of that stuff. And then almost most importantly of all, is it actually something that you can stick with? That, again, being honest with yourself and out of all the options as to how to work these delicious treats into your life, will this manner actually yield you a high level of compliance? Because if not, then it's just a short-term fix. You're just lying to yourself, and there's going to be these highs and lows, crash and burns, discipline for a while, off the rails for 2 weeks, and that's not how you want to live. You want to find some sort of a sustainable, way to work fitness into your life, clean living into your life, great sleep into your life, good community into your life, with an appropriate little amount of treats that lets you also enjoy the niceties that life has to offers also. So that's it. That's the cheat meal, cheat day, cheat everything episode. Hope that you enjoyed it. I somehow will exert the discipline after talking about all this stuff to not go eat anything because it's not time. Have a great day, and we will talk later.